Did you know there's a way to tell what someone thinks about you the first time they meet you? Someone taught me this 20 years ago. And sadly, I've never been able to turn it off, meaning I see it every time I meet someone for the first time, but it's pretty accurate. Now, even though that person who taught that to me ended up in prison for fraud through a company he was running that I was a part of, it still works pretty true. Granted, nothing is 100% accurate, but I can tell you, if you think about this, when you meet someone for the first time, it's pretty accurate. And it all has to do with the angle of their hand when they go to shake your hand for the first time. So here's what I see. When I go to shake someone's hand for the first time and I'm meeting them saying, hey, great to meet you, my name's Matt. When they come in for the shake, the angle of their hand will tell me what they want to convey in that moment. And it's all subconscious. The people who are shaking my hand have no idea they're doing it, but I'm always aware of the angle of their hand. So here's the 3 ways you can tell. Number 1, if they come in with the straight up and down handshake, they're coming in straight up and down, then usually they're looking at you as a team player on the same level as them, as an equal. There's nothing coming in. It's just they are on an even playing field as you, and that's usually the best you can go with in those scenarios. So if I'm meeting a coworker or I'm meeting a friend of a friend, whatever the case, if they're coming in with a straight handshake, it's a good start. If they are coming in with the under, meaning their hand and their palm is showing, that typically means that they look up to me in some fashion. They are looking at me as an expert, or they're wanting me to take care of them. There's some settings. So lots of times when Jen and I have done pastoral care, in any of those scenarios where we're being introduced as any kind of expert, where we come in and someone will come to shake our hand, and lots of times they will come in with the under because of the reputation that's been given, because of they're seeing us as an expert or as a figure of sorts where they're wanting help. Or it just could be that they're in a submissive fashion. So lots of times I will go to shake people's hand and I will come in as a submissive fashion, not even for the sense of I'm looking at them as an expert, but I'm being humble in a sense where I'll come in. And then lastly, this happens a lot, more than people realize, is the overarch. When typically older men will do this a lot of times is when they go to shake your hand, their hand will already be angled over, making the other person turn towards, and it's a very overarching thing, meaning they want to be known as the expert in this scenario. They want you to know when they're meeting you that they are in control, that they are the dominant one. And so this plays out in tons of scenarios. There was a very high-ranking figure, a general one time that I was meeting, and it was myself that I was meeting him for the first time, and I was meeting my boss. And my boss was younger than me, was a woman, but was in charge of the entire clinic. And she had developed a relationship with this general, and then I had developed a relationship with this general. Now, even though we both were Marines at one point and had developed a friendship, I remember clearly when her and I were standing next to each other, when I went to shake his hand, he came in with a huge overarch to me to shake my hand. And immediately when he went to meet the director who was in charge of everything, who he had better rapport with, an actual better relationship with, he came in as a team player. Because in that company, even though he was a general in the past, he was on an even playing corporate level as this person. Now, it was all subconscious. He didn't realize he was doing it. And I see people doing it all the time. Let's say I have a female coworker where I'm friends with this person. And, we just have a regular work relationship. But she's been conveying at home like, oh my gosh, I work with this guy, Matt, real great guy, whatever the case. When I go to meet the fiance, the husband, the boyfriend, whoever this guy is, if he's heard about me through his significant other, there's almost 100% chance that he will subconsciously come in with the overarch because he wants to know, hey, I'm in control here. And so lots of times people will get offended when they see the angle of the handshakes, but really it's the perfect negotiating scenario. Because if I'm coming into a negotiating environment and I know that person comes up with an overarch, then I'm going to stroke their ego throughout the negotiation. I'm going to build them up. I'm going to come in where let them feel like the expert, and it will just work better for me in the long run. Or if I know someone's coming in humbly, I'm going to speak life into them. I'm going to confidently convey that. It is one of the best things ever. The problem is you can never turn it off. You'll always see the angle of people's handshakes. Now, again, it's not 100% accurate. There's going to be cases, I know, but this has helped me so much over the years when it comes to reading people's body language when I go to meet them for the first time. And I use it all the time now. There was one time, 2 times actually, a guy who we were on a very even playing field, I think professionally and whatever level we were at, came in with a huge overarch. And I think by this time I remember clearly taking his hand and turning it to where it was straight up and down. And I do remember his face going like immediately, like it was like a glitch in his brain of what just happened, because it was all subconscious of him of coming in dominant, and to have a man take his hand and turn it to be straight up and down made him geek out. But I can tell you, look for that when you go to shake someone's hands. You can immediately tell, not even just what they're thinking about you, but what they're thinking about you in this situation, in this scenario. Because if they were to go to meet a person, they might come in one way. But if someone conveyed who you are, you were a speaker at an event, they conveyed your professionalism, whatever the case, they might change. And it just depends on the angle when they go to shake your hand.